With a lot of Māori who don't speak Te Reo, they struggle with identity growing up through school. And even I remember primary and intermediate just getting picked on a bit, saying, oh, he's trying to be Māori, oh, he's a try-hard Māori. And it sort of affected me through school. And I even remember the people's names that said that to me. So this year in 2023, I've taken 10 months off my rugby to learn Te Reo Māori, probably during the most important time of my professional rugby career. Te Reo Māori is the language of the Indigenous people of New Zealand. To me and a lot of people, I think it's the gateway to Te Ao Māori, to the Māori world. It's a 10-month full immersion course, pretty full on, but the goal is to come out as a confident speaker in Te Reo Māori. When I played Māori All Blacks in 2014, just not much people knowing how to speak Māori, and I was like, fuck, man. Yeah, it's quite, I don't know, you feel quite embarrassed. I just didn't want my kids to go through that same sort of trauma or mamai. Growing up, I just wanted them to be solid and know who they are, where they come from, and be staunch in their Māoritanga. Currently, I'm in my 12th year playing for the All Blacks Sevens rugby team. To me, it's almost at the peak of my career. 29 years old, and I'm not sure how many more years I have left playing footy, so, to take 10 months off was a pretty huge deal.
The New Zealand team are under
if it was easy, everyone would be doing it today, so it's just the same as footy, bro. You gotta work hard, you gotta put the time in, you gotta be dedicated. The Māori language is so important for our culture because it was never a written language. That was the way that everything was passed down, was through the language. Probably the main reason why I really wanted to do this now was because of my kids and just what ages they're at the moment. They're 5, 7 and 10, so I thought if I waited till after my rugby career, it's probably going to be too late. They'll be into their teenage years, and the most important or easiest time for anyone to learn a language is while you're still a kid. But before that, my only connection to my Māori side was my koro, and like a lot of people in New Zealand, when he was going to school, he was the generation where he'd get beaten and caned for speaking the Māori language. Then, once he got through school, he lost the language. It's been lost in our family since then. There was 3 things he always said, bro, wanted me to be an All Black, never sell the homestead, and he wanted me to learn the reo. I didn't make the All Blacks, but Māori All Blacks in Sevens, he might be happy with that. He did a lot for me. He's the one that started the fire for footy, He took me to my first team every Saturday to rugby when I was a kid. It's just one thing that I really wanted to do for him, for all our tipuna and all our kids. Yeah, I guess my only connection to my marae and to here in Ngāti Hangaro and Ngāti Kahu was through my koro. He moved back here in 96, back to the homestead, just across the road here. I'd come to his house, every weekend, every holidays. And then when my koro passed away in 2014, I think that's when we sort of really lost the connection here. I moved back here in 2017, 18, and then moved into the homestead in 2020, 2021. So it was hard for me because none of our family had any connection here. It was only sort of me that my koro brought here growing up out of all his children and moko. So I definitely felt like it was on me and my family to reconnect and then keep the connection to our marae and that here. So grateful as I was able to buy our homestead, move my family here, bring my kids up and reconnect with all our whānau, and this is this beautiful place to bring my kids up here. Doing this now, it's just like everything he wanted, so yeah, just happy as. Yeah.
There's some big wins for him, equivalent to a year's world travel and salary and everything that goes with being a professional athlete, or perhaps even something more valuable there. As to why he would even consider taking a year off in what might be perceived as, the height of his career.
But yeah, it was hard, bro. I was only 27 or 26, and I'm not an outgoing fella. I'm pretty shy. Don't like going places on my own and that. So for me to reconnect, it was hard for me. And I was just grateful to have mates like Ngārohi who was living with me. Any kaupapa Māori over here, any tangi, I was like, bro, can you come with me? Can I hurry up? Even though I was acting like they had to come and help, it was more so I felt more comfortable reconnecting, So, yeah, grateful as for them.
My parents always told me just wherever you go, never forget it, because it'll always lead you to where you want to be.
Mugabe Black, and this guy has come on and been deadly.
I think when Joe just seen me speak at the marae and just talk about how I was brought up and how my lifestyle was, I think kind of rubbed off on him.
It's something me and Jordan have always wanted to do. For me and her to be doing it at the same time, it's just like, it's wicked, but it's unreal.
Of course, you do the course to learn the language, but it's almost made me feel more confident in my own identity as Māori. Even if I don't come out being amazing at speaking Te Reo, I will feel, just way more confident within myself that I am Māori, I'm enough.
For Māori in New Zealand, it's sort of everything really, eh? Your family would grow up on your marae, everything would happen here, you'll eat, sleep, have like tangi here, funerals here. A village, you know, you're sort of safe space for your whānau. So I think for me and a lot of kids growing up in New Zealand who haven't been brought up around the marae and don't have a strong connection to your marae and your identity, if you don't look Māori enough, like, you know, if you're fair skin Māori, it makes it way worse or way harder. Like, you just don't feel like you're Māori. And then because you don't have a strong connection, you're like, man, am I Māori? You start to like withdraw yourself from kaupapa Māori, like kapahaka, the Māori classes through high school, you know, and that was definitely the case for me. But yeah, it's a sad feeling, bro. It's like, it's a deep mamai, not really being staunch in your Māoritanga and your sense of belonging growing up. I love kapahaka. I could just sit down and listen to people sing Māori songs. Māoris are beautiful singers, except for me. That's one thing I wish I could do, bro, is sing. But yeah, I love Māori songs, love listening to people sing. Their values and principles on manaakitanga and kaitiakitanga and whakawhanaungatanga, you know, just always so welcoming, just always looking after people. Yeah, just so much love, in our culture. And yeah, even after my course, you know, I was talking to the kazi, Jazz at the koanga. Any days off, cuz I'm coming over to just kick back with you fellas, you know, just so I can be around the language still, keep learning, forever learning. And yeah, hopefully just inspiring other people like me who lost their connection and wanting to reconnect, and maybe just being a role model for our Māori kids. Because, man, we're talented people, they just need the right people in front of them to motivate them and be an example. After, I guess, reconnecting and doing this course, I definitely feel a bit more comfortable coming back to my marae now. Just watching my kids just play around here with all their cousins, it just warms the heart, knowing that they feel real comfortable and this is always going to be a safe space for them and they're not going to lose their connection and have to go through that mamae again. I just feel like it's meant to be, Never been more happy, bro, to be able to bring up my kids here. Yeah, it's just made me more motivated to have a stronger connection to Te Ao Māori. It inspired me to just keep going and know that it's for a bigger purpose, for my kids and for our tipuna. I want to keep that connection strong and there's no place in the world I'd rather be or want to go. I te taha o tōku karaua, ko maua o te maunga, ko tauranga te moana, ko wairoa te awa, tāki timi te waka, ko Ngāti Ranginui te iwi, ko Ngāti Hangarau me Ngāti Kahu ngā hapu, ko Hangarau me Wairoa ngā marae, ko Rāhiri Rawa, ko Smith o ku whānau. Te taha o tōku koe, ko Tainui te waka, ko Raukawa te iwi, ko Ngāti Huri, te hapu, ko Pikitu te marae, ko Tihārau ko Barnet o ku whānau, ko Joe Webra hau.